Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Ironbound, the tabletop role-playing game, and that will be, it's actually being it's being released in print through DriveThruRPG, so you can print it on demand from from DriveThruRPG. It will not be on any FLGS shelves anytime soon. Not through like Evil Hack Games structure of they'll they openly sell to every FLGS they want, or every FLGS that wants it, or through Kelsey Dion's brand new incredibly innovative structure of cutting out FLGSs and being like, we're only going to go direct to a few local game shops and deal with them direct and sell to them direct, and then every other FLGS you get nothing. Which that sounds like it's a terrible model. It's literally the most successful model in the world for any OSR or indie games, and is changing the market as we talk about. So this Ironbound will come out through will be available on demand, on print on demand from DriveThruRPG. You'll be able to get it in soft cover, you'll be able to get it in hardcover, and it's just a difference in price on what you want. So I have seen the print, I have seen the prototype version of this game, and I've played this game. And today I want to talk about the mechanics. Okay, so this is an urban fantasy game created by David Ward. Okay, and I was able to, I got full access to the creator. I was able to see the game run by the creator, and I was able to experience its rules mechanics. Its rules mechanics are absolute pure garbage, absolutely terrible. They could not possibly be worse. Now, that's still of value. This is not, because David Ward worked extremely hard on this. I was able to see the book. I could see he poured time, attention, and love into this game. The rules suck, not because he didn't work hard on it, not because he didn't care about it, but out of ignorance. He is extremely ignorant of tabletop role-playing game design, in my humble opinion. All right, so where did his ignorance come in? So first of all, I was like, well, he said something to me, and I was like, oh, you don't want to do that. It's going to be hard, competing against Dungeons & Dragons. And so he said, I'm not competing against Dungeons & Dragons. And so first of all, that's very cute, David Ward. You are competing against Dungeons & Dragons. There's absolutely no tabletop role-playing game in the world that is created that is not competing against Dungeons & Dragons. You can be cute, you can be lighthearted. You are going against Dungeons & Dragons. The only difference is if you're in the arena, you're going to get kicked right in the butt by Dungeons & Dragons because you didn't know you were fighting against Dungeons & Dragons, or you pretended you weren't. The second your game drops into the market, you will be compared against Dungeons & Dragons, and it does not matter what your cute little heart or your cute little mind wants or thinks. You will be compared against Dungeons & Dragons. Your numbers are going to be compared against your Dungeons & Dragons, and the entire tabletop role-playing game community, the OSR and the indie, are looking for a D&D killer. You either serve it up, you give it to them, and you give them some hope of being a D&D killer, or you are a pathetic also-ran. And so the second he said, I'm not competing against Dungeons & Dragons, that puts Ironbound's game mechanics into a pathetic also-ran bucket, right? And that's sad, and it shouldn't be that way. So learn from David Ward. The second you put pen to paper and you are creating a tabletop role-playing game, you are going right at Gary Gygax, right at his February 7th, 1974, throw it down, lock it down, do it right energy, right? Every single person who puts pen to paper on a tabletop role-playing game, you are going at Gary's crown. You are going against Gary Gygax's legacy. And if you don't understand that, get ready to be crushed and suck. If you don't go for the crown, if you don't have an innovative path to beat him, you are nothing. You are nothing, right? So learn from David Ward. You are going to be compared to Dungeons & Dragons. There's no other path, right? You either beat it, or you get defeated, or you get utterly crushed because you never even tried, right? So I saw the mechanics of this D12 system. Why is it a D12 system, right? No good reason. literally to be different than D&D. So when you come to your dice system, that's extremely important. You need to be very careful about your difficulty check. When do people roll dice? Why do people roll dice, right? I'm reading Outgunned right now by, I think it's called Three Little Mice, right? And this company, it's an action game, right? And it's a pool of D6s, and when you roll, every single symbol on the die communicates the theme of the game, right? And David Ward came to his rules mechanic as like, oh, let's just do something cute. I'll do a D12, right? You'll roll a D12. And so basically, it's really terrible. It's like 6 or below is a 6 or below is a failure. 7 to 8 is a marginal success. 10 through 11 is a success, and 12 is a critical. And so it's literally PBTA, but not 2d12, just a 1d12. But there's no thematic reason, right? The numbers don't mean anything, right? And what's even worse is PBTA already beat you to this, right? Like there's nothing innovative here. And what was even worse was, so I played a vampire, which I was excited about. So I'm an undead vampire, right? But what was also very sad was that during the game, I realized that, you're writing a game about urban fantasy. So I was stunned by a taser, right? And I was like, well, that's not going to work on my vampire because I'm a supernatural undead. Like, that weapon is literally designed to ground a living human. It's not going to have any effect on a vampire, right? Oh no, your brain activity works just fine. I'm like, you don't even, like, David Ward doesn't even understand the theme he's trying to depict, right? It was just very, very bad, right? Just absolute pure garbage rules. Like just changes to be distinct from Dungeons and Dragons. And the problem is when you build your rule system, you have to be innovative, right? You have to make every single choice in your rule system has to be better than Dungeons and Dragons to have even a chance of defeating it. And even if you get everything right and every single line in your mechanics is better than Dungeons and Dragons, you still have a light year to cross to get even close to Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons has massively integrated itself into other intellectual properties. It has movies, it has shows, it has many other successes that are far beyond just the mechanics. So the mechanics have to have a reason. They have to communicate theme. They have to be more elegant and better than Dungeons and Dragons. And Ironbound is none of that. Pure garbage rules. Pure garbage rules. Pure garbage rules. Right? And a creator who doesn't even understand the basics of urban fantasy. So honestly, I really feel like Ironbound had an opportunity, and he was cooked. He was cooked the second he said that he wasn't competing against Dungeons and Dragons. That's exactly right. You're in the fight and you laid on the mat before the fight even started. You're turtling before the fight even starts, right? And so you got crushed, right? Like, if you're going to come for the king, do not miss. Do not miss. Get in there, do the best you can. And you're like, Scott, are you doing that? Yeah, I'm doing it, right? My tabletop role-playing game is sitting on Drive-Thru-RPG. I'm actually ahead of David Ward. I'm ahead of David Ward, right? And my game is there, and it did everything I said. It did a very profound job of trying to make every single thing better than D&D, and it failed. I got my butt kicked. I went against Gary. He virtually kicked me in the teeth and virtually, stomped me down, and my game has been defeated by Dungeons and Dragons. But I tried. David Ward didn't even try, right? And that's why his rules are garbage, and Ironbound, it does not have good rules. It really does not have good rules. Now, I will say this. You should take a look at Ironbound. And if you got the cheddar, you should even buy it, right? Because there are some things that are done better than Dungeons and Dragons in Ironbound. But the rules are pure garbage, right? Now, that doesn't mean that this doesn't have an audience. I think Ironbound may have an audience. What would that audience be? dungeon masters and dragon masters who are completely ignorant of the narrative infrastructure and the silent underground rivers of meaning within Dungeons and Dragons, which is a lot of people, right? There are a lot of people who do not look at Dungeons and Dragons in a reflective, in any way that is reflective, or as any way that is trying to understand the deeper meaning that is carried by Dungeons and Dragons. If you are completely ignorant dungeon master, if you are completely ignorant dragon masters, I think you very well. And if you don't like my channel, there's a good chance that you will love this game, right? So give it a check, try it out. The rules are absolute garbage. The art is extremely mid. There are some sections that are very, very good. The only reason I'm not mentioning them here is I may or may not do a video, but I don't like to commit myself to videos in the future. I've learned that lesson. I may do them in the future, I may not, and so I'm trying to keep this, all together. Absolute garbage rules in Ironbound, but there is a lesson here. If you are a tabletop role-playing game designer, do not even attempt this unless you're ready to beat Gary, and you better pour your heart and soul into it. If you think you can just plop out some tabletop role-playing game and not even try to compete with Dungeons & Dragons, you're going to end up just like David Work, making a pure garbage rules game and a very mid art game that you doubled the art budget on and still didn't make anything that was actually distinguishable from AI. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.